and on Zoom. We are going to ask people on Zoom to remain muted, and if you want to speak, to please raise your hand on Zoom. So, first order of business is, does anybody here have a conflict of interest about anything on the agenda?
No.
The minutes. Thank you. So we have the minutes of the May 5th meeting of the Select Board.
The motion to approve.
Thank you, Mike.
Second.
Thank you, Zoe. Did anybody have any amendments to these minutes?
No.
Okay. All in favor of accepting them as they are?
Aye.
Aye. You weren't, Brad wasn't here. Okay. Thank you. Next order of business is announcements. I think you have some announcements, right, Paul?
On town clerk's behalf, dog licenses. If you haven't licensed your dog yet, please do so. It's a little more money now since the date has passed, but remember to bring a rabies certificate. On the assessor's clerk's behalf, we're still going through the reappraisal. So the postcards are still going out, and then a reminder of your homestead, even though tax season is over. If you forgot to file your homestead declaration, please do so. The other thing is, last time we had a rep from the Shaftsbury Historical Society here, and I wanted to point out something going on in town that is like a walking tour. And Jen, our cemetery superintendent, did a really, really wonderful job on this project. And it's a Revolutionary War cemetery tour in Shaftsbury. And this is kind of what it looks like. This is a lot of work went into this, and it's kind of a self-guided tour. You want to tell them about the...
Yeah, if you scan the QR code, it'll take you to information about each individual soldier, and you can just scroll through, and it'll take you, you walk to the next grave, and you can check it out. Either you can, if you're not able to walk the cemetery, you can just do it online, or you can actually walk through the cemetery, and it's all at Center Cemetery, and interesting for historians or people, tourists to enjoy it, or...
Yeah, something to do
Really nice.
as the weather gets nicer, and I wanted to just extend our gratitude and thanks to Jen, who worked really hard on this.
There's a link on the
Thank you,
website, or
Jen.
you can walk in and just take a map. The town clerk has some printed out for people, or...
Yep, pretty cool. And that's all I have for announcements. Oh, no, we have one more. On your website, we now have a button for a page, whatever, for the recreation department. So a lot of people want to book the pavilion down on Howard Park. It's usually a series of emails and forms to fill out, but...
Now you can do it right on the rec page. Yeah, in the rec department, there's a button for reserve the pavilion. And if you're a resident, it's free, and if you're not a non-resident, it's a $50 check to the town, and it's very simple now.
Click and book.
Moving up in the world, getting
Moving
more
up.
suave, savvy.
Yes.
Jen, would you like me to add that as an option with Municipay?
We could do that.
It's a good idea.
We could do that.
That's not
We'll
bad.
talk.
Yep.
Right now, we're still doing checks, but we can add that very easily, yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, any other announcements anybody has? Okay, warrants. The really hot moment in the night.
Sorry.
Okay,
Glasses onto this. So I can read the little writing.
so this is check warrant report number 25028. or $90,071.89. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tony. Second by Mike, thank you. Okay, items over 1,000. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Vermont, 14,403 and 5,388.
That 14,000 is in the May employee health insurance.
Oh, I'm sorry, the other thing is actually the BCRC.
That's the BCRC.
5,388.
Yep, that's the quarterly fee for the solid waste implementation plan, which will be explained later.
Good. Okay. Bove Fuels, 1,543.
What was on the other one? That's always.
But it's always
It's
heating oil,
always, yeah,
right?
fuel.
Yeah. Brookfield Service, 2,595.
Yeah, that's the fire department, elementary school, so the fire department they have 2 generators, so it's just the maintenance plan and the state certification.
Right. Casella Waste, 9,852.
Yep, transfer station.
Transfer station. Yep, we need to keep thinking about how expensive garbage is right now. And only to get more expensive. Picking things at random here. Crystal Rock, $19.99.
That is the DPW's water, I want to call it a bubbler. I'm from Massachusetts, but it's a fountain.
Fountain, okay.
Water cooler.
Thank you. Innovative Surface Solutions, 5,451.
It's the road stuff.
Road stuff. MVP Healthcare, 5,670.64.
We are, that's the new one. This is the, I know she wrote it down.
Yep, this is our new health insurance.
Our new health insurance, we're switching from Blue Cross to MVP. So that's May coverage for the one person we hired new who's on it, and then June for everybody.
Great.
Yeah.
2 from Nimerick, it really is 2 this time. One for 7,750, one for 1,795.
And my notes are on 2 different pages. The May fee is the 7,750, and the other one is for the planning and zoning module, because we're moving to that.
That's the new module.
We have 2 new modules, that's the second one.
Great. Sullivan and Powers, 1,236.
That's the remainder of our audit fee.
Tamarack Tree Care, 3,400.
Taking down the big trees at the new building. They were ash. And they were affected.
Deeply affected,
Yes.
right? 20,973.82 from the Vermont League, for the Vermont League of Cities and Towns.
That's insurance, insurance and bond, like casualty and workman's comp and such.
A special municipal insurance
Yep.
program. Wallingford Crushed Stone,
Gravel.
4,497.
Gravel.
Gravel.
Right there.
Gravel. And that's it. Any questions, thoughts? No. All in favor? Aye. And we've got more?
The payroll warrant,
Yes.
and then this one you had already signed because we were a week delayed with Tim's raise.
So the bottom one,
One only has one on it that you've already signed.
Yes,
And then
yes.
this is the most recent one.
okay, so the bottom one,
We gave Tim a raise and then didn't give it to him in his paycheck, so we had to cut him another check.
okay, so it's for $138.80, and you can sign it.
Yeah, you've already signed
Passed.
it.
I've already signed it. Okay, and this is payroll warrant number 24 for $27,864.51. Thank you, Tony. Second by Mike, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
While we're passing papers and signing, I think we can move on to public comments. We seem to have a lot of public here. You are, at this point, invited to comment on anything on tonight's agenda. Does anyone wish to comment on anything on tonight's agenda?
Only on what's on tonight? I was just curious about the progress on the new building.
Oh, yeah, you can ask questions
Do you
too.
need hands, to knock walls down or anything like that? Do you need volunteers to help with that kind of thing?
What a lovely question.
Well, right? I mean, we talked about that at town meeting, I thought.
Yes. Yes.
So more volunteer,
Thank you.
work.
I think at the moment, the answer is we're not yet to the stage where we're doing anything that we can invite volunteers to do.
Okay.
Because at the moment, the stuff is dangerous.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
We're still soliciting bids
Uh-huh,
and actively so.
great.
And
Well,
boy, are contractors busy this time of year.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
lots of phone calls, lots of leads. Might be, this one does this one does that. And we have people coming to see it in the coming weeks.
Great.
Very soon.
Yeah,
Well, there'll be a
We're
lot of
anxious
people
to
at
get
the
it
ready
done.
if you need.
Thank
that's
you.
great.
Hands.
Paintbrushes in
Yes,
hand.
just let us know.
Paintbrushes, rollers.
Right, exactly.
Yes, thank you.
Sledge, I know.
The sledgehammer, that's what we sort of ditched the idea of, although it would feel so good, right?
Right.
Because of the electricity and the dust.
Yeah. We all have N95 masks.
I'm sorry, what?
So we all have N95 masks.
We all have N95 masks, yes. Okay. Any other comments?
On the same subject, regarding the new, shiny new building, the garden committee is looking into ideas for, we'll take a look at what we can do to
Good.
work on the outside. Betsy and I are both on the committee, Heidi heads it, so
Wow.
we'll be doing, I know we have time now, so, probably nothing, groundbreaking yet, but if anyone has ideas or suggestions, they can certainly reach me or Heidi or probably Betsy too. I don't want to speak for her.
We just refreshed
Right.
the garden in front.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Looks great. Yeah.
And then we'll do the Baptist Meeting House Wednesday.
Great. Thank you. So, should we
Excellent.
set them loose on the gardens over there?
Go for it. Perennials.
As long as
That's
trees-
that circle in the middle.
Oh, I know. I don't know what those are.
Yeah,
They're getting green.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, go scope it out.
Go, yeah. Go have a good time.
Now, we're kind of almost past the window of the best time to transplant things, but I think we have enough gardeners in town where we can probably get something good together just by that and not really
Okay,
paying for new plants.
Right. Wonderful.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Treasurer's report.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Melanie.
Did you get my reports? I sent them pretty late.
Of course.
Okay, we can start, whoops, whichever.
Which cash flow first?
Yeah, let's do the cash flow first. I think we've already talked about most of this. The delinquent taxes are, we talked about this last time. That's a pretty good amount to get this time of year. I'm glad to see that. If we go down towards the bottom, we can see closer to what our cash position is right now. I think you just approved a warrant for 90,000. So you can subtract that from what you're going to see as our cash balance, down a tiny bit more. Yep. So getting to the 140-ish,
Yeah.
making me a little nervous.
Yeah.
I say that every time. I mean, there are things we'll be able to do, but it's going to be very difficult for us to get, I mean, impossible. We can't get a line of credit before June 30th. So just be aware that anything that can be put off until after June should be at this point.
Yes.
I'm not projecting it to the budget because it's mid-month, but cash is what it's really all about this time of year. If we could take a quick look at the reserve funds. That's the big number there. It sticks out at the 260 line. That tells you that water bills are in the mail. I just processed $10,000 worth of payments today, so they're coming in very briskly. They are due, I'm sorry, I should have checked on the date. I can't remember the exact date. I think it's like June 11th, something like that. But we'll see quite a bit of movement in that over the next few weeks. The only other thing I want to say is I think we may have mentioned, but we've got the cash receipts modules kind of up and running. There's some growing pains as we figure out all entirely new procedures for cash, but it's going to make our auditors happy. So if the auditors are happy, I'm happy. So we have a couple more that we need to bring on board, and I guess if the rec committee is going to be renting out the pavilion, then we'll probably need to have, do we even have it at the,
That's nothing new, though.
I don't know.
I know,
talked
but
to
it's
Tiffany
such a-
about that today.
it's
because
so ad hoc. I
It
mean-
didn't occur to me that they are an entity that takes money in.
Yeah, and
Not
I
a
think that when
lot,
we talked
but-
about cash, that was not one that
Right.
came up because it really
That's
is
right,
pretty
'cause it's
rare.
not a department,
It used to be
yeah.
that there was more Little League events and stuff like that up there.
Right.
But, you know, with their beautiful new sign, maybe it's going to bring people in.
It's probably only a couple times a year.
Yeah,
It's mostly
I don't know.
people in town, which we don't charge.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
give that some
We could be
thought.
getting the
Steve's
word
not
out, though.
an
Yeah.
employee, but we can, I could certainly process it.
it's easy enough to have
It's
it
easy enough.
available, even if we
Yeah.
don't use it very often.
Yeah. We don't mind doing that.
Yeah.
Any questions about anything? This is kind of a middle of the month thing. I don't really have all that much to say.
No.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Okay, the DPW report. Paula, you're speaking for Mike, right?
Speaking on behalf of Mike. Let's see, this week and next week, road grading, Shaftsbury Hollow, Granger Hollow, Mead Road this week, Hidden Valley Development, and Maple Hill Road next week, all weather depending, of course. Roadside mowing has started. We will be mowing the roadside on the west side of Shaftsbury for the next couple of weeks, and when that side is complete, then we'll continue on the east side. We split the town using Route 7A as the divider for west and east. Ditch cleaning on Bennett Hill, and the DPW crew will be working a bit in the cemeteries with Jen fixing headstones. Keep her busy.
Great. Tomorrow. Thank you. Okay. Now we come to a resolution condemning attacks on due process and affirming the constitutional rights of all persons in the town of Shaftsbury. Brad is going to read this aloud. Can I have a motion first to adopt it?
So moved.
Thank you, Tony. And a second?
A second.
Thanks, Mike.
A resolution condemning attacks on due process and affirming the constitutional rights of all persons in the town of Shaftsbury, Vermont. Whereas both the 5th and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution guarantee the right of due process within its borders, stating that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, without exception. And whereas the President of the United States, Donald Trump, has publicly questioned the language of such guarantees, stating that he does not know if all citizens and non-citizens within the United States are entitled to due process. And whereas to date, the administration of President Donald Trump has intentionally detained and sought the deportation of Vermont's legal residents without application of such constitutionally mandated due process procedures, thereby purposely violating those constitutional protections. And whereas a government's unchecked violation of any person's constitutional rights creates both a threat and potential license for further governmental abuse, and whereas it is the duty of all publicly elected governing bodies to protect and defend their residents and take reasonable and lawful action where their residents' liberty is threatened by any level of government. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Select Board of the Town of Shaftsbury, Vermont, unequivocally condemns all officially sponsored governmental actions which intentionally deny any person their constitutionally protected rights, including but not limited to due process of the law for our residents. The Town of Shaftsbury affirms its commitment to protecting the constitutional rights of all persons in our town, regardless of citizenship status, national origin, political belief, race, religion, sex, gender identity or expression, sexual orientation, age, disability, or socioeconomic status. The Select Board pledges to oppose any policy or action, local, state, or federal, which targets and/or denies due process to its residents based on any of the aforementioned identities or positions, and to defend Shaftsbury as a community rooted in equal justice, accountability, and dignity of all.
Thank you. Everybody ready to vote
Yes.
on adopting this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Great.
That's going on the website.
This will go on the website, yep. Congratulations, Shaftsbury.
Can I ask who came up with the wording? Where did you?
Yeah, so the wording is, thank you for asking that question. It is based on, adapted from, wording adopted by the city of Rutland. And it was, I guess our first draft was adapted by me, and Carl Corman gave it a legal twice over and sort of added legal muscle. So here we go.
Thank you.
Thanks to all.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, okay. The Forest Service.
Where is it good for us to stand?
You want to stand, or would you like to sit? Whichever you...
prefer to stand.
You would prefer to stand?
Yeah.
That's good. And the camera can just go to you.
And I can, Stacy, we brought a map that we can leave with you.
Thank you.
You don't want to be anybody's way for...
I love a good map.
You can see through the paper in the back.
Perfect. So, hi, everyone. We just want a few minutes of your time tonight.
Thank you for coming.
I'm Martina Barnes. I'm the district ranger, so I work in Manchester, and I brought some of my colleagues with me tonight. And we just wanted a chance to give you really a brief update about one primary project called the Grass Mountain project. It's part of what we call the Early Successional Habitat Creation Project, which is quite a mouthful. But the goal of that project is really to create a younger forest type than we generally have across the forest, to encourage the growth of young forests types across the Green Mountain National Forest, specifically on the Manchester Ranger District that I oversee, and that will not only enhance young forest types, but it's also for the benefit of wildlife and other, it just will really enhance the health of the forest overall. And this project at Grass Mountain is unique in that we have a partnership with the Ruffed Grouse Society, and I'll have Melly introduce herself, which is a very unique opportunity to work with one of our partners together to implement the project. And she's going to talk to you a little bit about what the project is about. And then, Stacy Stratton is also here.
I'm the timber manager for the district.
So he's oversees all
Thank
of
you for
our
coming.
timber projects and forest management projects. So, but I'll turn it over to Melly, because I know we're short on time, but she can give you a little overview, and we have a few fact sheets to give you as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello everyone, thank you for having me. My name's Amelia. Everyone calls me Melly Napper. I'm the public lands forester for the Ruffed Grouse Society, and I've been working on Green Mountain National Forest in partnership with them, so I'm really excited to talk about Grass Mountain. I prepared a little info sheet to kind of talk about the timber sale and what the goals are. So as Martina mentioned, it's about creating habitat for neotropical migratory passerine birds and also other
Three more.
nice. And other species or wildlife that is associated with early successional forests, as Martina talked about, young forests. So the goal with this project is to create a more heterogeneous landscape so that we can create more habitat for these different wildlife species, and also to create a healthier forest. And a really awesome part of the Grass Mountain timber sale is that it is a part of a stewardship contract. So we're working in partnership, and we're going to be implementing other restoration activities. So we've already begun with removing invasives, and the biggest thing is we will be doing some stream restoration on Little White Creek, which is a really exciting part of the project. On the back side of the handout, I included some pictures which show some of the culverts that are currently existing in the project area. A lot of these culverts are undersized and serve as impediments for different aquatic wildlife, trout specifically. So the goal here is that we will be removing the culverts and putting hardened at-grade fords in order to allow for natural stream morphology and also to allow for low traffic passage. And I also included a picture of Figure 1 shows a culvert that is on the Legal Town Trail. And that's something that we're really interested in, hopefully maybe working with the town on. That could be something that we could accomplish through the stewardship sale. If the town was interested, and if the private landowners were also interested in having that removed and having a hardened at-grade ford put in place.
So what kind of culvert is it?
It's a metal, so there's a few different kinds, but they're both metal, and one's like super old.
Yeah, I know. But the one you're gonna replace it, you're gonna put in place of?
We're going to do a harden at grade 4, so essentially kind of using natural materials, rock and whatnot, to
Okay.
create a passage
Good.
that way.
Good.
Rather than, if we had to replace it, it would be like a humongous.
Yeah.
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 Very expensive. So this is a way better option. It's also better for just the use of the trail as well, just because it is not a, for vehicles, I guess.
Yeah.
So that'll occur after the sale has been completed.
Do you want to explain exactly where it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Apologies. So it's at the end of Shaftsbury Hollow Road. The town trail begins shortly after. Let's see, where is it? So the town trail, legal trail begins here, and then it goes all the way up into the Arlington Shaftsbury border. And so there's a few different units within the project area. All of these units are intended to create, more heterogeneous landscape and regenerate. Namely, oak is one of the really important species that we'd like to see on the landscape. Currently, we don't have a lot of oak regenerating just due to heavy competition with beech. So we're hoping that creating conditions both through light and soil will allow the oak to regenerate, and also we'll be doing some supplemental planting of white oak, which is in hopes to create a more diverse forest in the future. That's where it's located.
So it's at the end of Shaftsbury Hollow Road where the trail goes on off to the right a bit.
So what we need, mostly is we're presenting it, what we'd like to do, and if the town has any concerns about using legal town trail to haul wood on, the log trucks, getting, the right of way to our property, what we can do to work with the town, what they might need for permits, or what do they need for work on that, or assurances, things like that. It's going to be protected. The town, the legal town trail cannot be destroyed, or, it's going to be put back in better place than we started with. But want to work with the town now to see what they also would like us to consider when we do this. We just don't want to show up and,
Start working. So
Yeah.
do not know
So
about
just,
it.
just ideas, if the town has something and they can coordinate with us and we're doing our thing in there, maybe, hey, while you're doing this, do this, or all my sales, I usually ask all the purchasers to require that they obtain any permits the town may need, but I don't know what the town may need for all those permits. That I can tell a potential purchaser when I do a showing, what the town may want them to do. It's something they'll want to know when they bid.
Okay, when are you planning to start? Hoping to start?
So the goal is to
And then Jen.
have a showing for the sale sometime this summer, and then after that, it's dependent on the purchaser and when they can begin. There are some units that are restricted to winter-only harvest, but in order to achieve some of our goals, there will be some units that have been approved for summer harvest, and that's important for getting some of that oak regen that we are looking for.
So there could be something, if it sells this summer, we put it out to bid, it could be something there this winter.
Yeah.
Okay,
And they have
so we
5
have a
years.
couple of months to think about it and talk with you. And
Yeah,
for our
we can
DPW.
do it, if you'd like, we can
Forest.
schedule a field trip out there as well. So-
Oh, sorry, one
Yeah.
part that I did forget, and you had a question.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, is the timber you're selling going to be some of the dead ash trees?
So within the project area, there's not that much white ash. There is a bit, but I think it makes up a very small part of.
That's an hot area, just not a lot of
Yeah,
ash.
it's pretty dry. There are some pretty wet areas, but we definitely are harvesting some ash and leaving some for wildlife and whatnot, but it doesn't make up the majority. But I did want to share that I'll be, through the Rough Grouse Society, we'll be hosting a habitat walk. So the goal there is to get our members out and also engage the local community so that we can go out and look at these project areas and talk about, the goals there. So
when's that going to be?
either July or August.
Okay.
I've been very busy in the field work aspect of it, so I'm just now getting into the contracts. And
Okay, we'll get that up on the website when you're...
Thank you.
Oh,
And
and
this
how to contact,
handout is electronic too, if
Oh,
you
yeah.
needed it, so.
how do we contact you? Or
Oh, I can give you a card.
through the town?
Yeah, we'll post,
Martina and Paula.
Okay, nice to
We're
meet
in email contact as
we'll
well.
post it on
If I get
the...
it right, you remove the beach and then plant the oaks? Is that the long-term plan?
So we will be harvesting some of the beech. So the goal isn't, we're not completely removing beech from the forest. We're leaving healthy beech. We're also leaving beech that bear have, clawed essentially. They identify them as, good
Well,
mass source.
they've grown beech nuts,
Yeah.
so we want to keep.
It really is.
Yeah, so yeah, we're not removing all the beech, but kind of the goal is, just because right now the understory is dominated by like vegetatively grown beech, so it's all genetically identical, and it's just not allowing any other species.
After a harvest, usually, oak and maple, we try to give them like a 3-year head start on the beech, because we know the beech is going to grow. But it just kind of gives them a little bit of a chance to get going. Yeah. All right.
Is it possible that the purchaser would remove a culvert, or especially this?
Yep.
Because they wouldn't be able to get over this. I know this one.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is, that's a great thing about the stewardship is that the money from the wood, first of all, stays on the forest, and that money is used to do this work, this type of road work. Any other work we need on there is comes straight off the timber sale. So it's,
Great.
I
Karen?
think you just answered one of my questions. There's been a lot of concern with the cutbacks to the Forest Service is one of them from the current administration. But it sounds as though this particular project is dependent more on what you're getting out of it than what you'd be looking for from the federal government for the Forest Service. Am I right?
all of our sales, I'll have to say, I've been with the Forest Service for a long time, and it is, I mean, like our budgets usually pay for salaries and things like that, but as far as like the timber sales almost always stay on force. It is so rare for us to send anything, and like $25, 25 cents out of like every so many dollars actually goes to Treasury. The rest of it stays here to fund other timber sales.
Great.
Or wildlife, or, wildlife can use it. The only one that cannot use it is recreation. But all the other monies can be used by the rest of the Forest Service.
They can't control, say that the grouse aren't important and, we don't like that?
I mean, they could, but.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're not policy, that'll be a policy. I'm sorry, Martine, if I'm taking words out of your mouth, please let me know, but it's, but, I've been through a lot of administrations, plus or minus, and they've kind of left the timber and, our type of daily operations kind of alone, it's like where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, and where the work really happens. And, yes, we've had some, people leave and some other things, but overall, it's like, we still have, our partners like Melly and others that really jump in and do a lot of work.
Right.
And, I have a crew. It's not fully staffed, but it never has been, but we seem to do all right. But again, you can only do what you can.
Well, we appreciate what you're doing. We really do.
Yes, yes.
And if you ever wanted to go out there and look around, please feel free, it's public land.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of orange paint, that all means something. There's 2 stripes as a boundary, and a single stripe on each side is a tree that's being left. And usually it's a tree for either wildlife or it's a young future saw log, or it's a beech tree that's got clear bark on it, so we want that to grow because that's what's going to save the beech is, those type of trees. So there's a lot going on out there. Melly's been out there kind of by herself. We've been working on other sales across the forest, but it's kind of good to have that type of partnership, where we can get people in. And I don't know if anyone's looking for a volunteer day. We're always looking for people to pull invasive plants. There's enough honeysuckle and barberry.
Yeah, I think,
Put that on the website.
put that on the website, you might well get some takers. Yeah.
Well, for an hour at least until that's not fun. I don't know if everyone here's pulled wild parsnip before, but it's not fun.
Not fun.
So
Yeah.
we pull a lot of that. So
Does anybody else have questions for these wonderful people? No?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great.
Thank you.
So, and contact information is going to be,
Yeah, Paula has my info.
thank you, Martina. Okay.
These if anyone wants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Card with it.
Yeah, that would
That's
be
great, okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll leave a few.
That'd be great.
Yeah, there we are. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be seeing you. All right. The BCRC is here in the person of Paula Camperman to talk about the solid waste implementation plan.
There's someone coming in. Good question.
There's somebody coming in?
Yeah, she's in our, she might be with us. I don't know.
Somebody other than Mel and Katie?
No, Mel is.
Shall I get started?
Yeah.
Sure, go for it.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Paula Camperman. I'm the Outreach Program Manager for the Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance. And what that is, essentially, is an interlocal contract between 13 towns in and around Bennington County who are working cooperatively to manage the state's materials management plan. And that is something that is the state decides how we manage our solid waste, what is to be banned, collected, diverted, and what we do at a local level is establish a solid waste implementation plan every 5 years. So we're at the stage now where we're going to renew that plan and update it with some changes that the state has asked us to include. So tonight I'm just going to give you a highlight of what some of those changes are and answer questions. Essentially, we're 13 towns that basically have a contract. We don't have any facilities except the household hazardous waste collection facility that was built in 2022 at the Bennington Transfer Station. So we have a little container building on a slab of concrete and collect materials from May through October from all the residents and small quantity solid waste generators. So what we're doing tonight is asking the select board to, having reviewed the updated solid waste implementation plan, is to adopt it so that we can then present our adopted plan to the state for inclusion. We're shooting for July 1st deadline if we can, but I'm here as well to answer questions, assuming folks have had a chance to look at it. But primarily tonight, what I just want to mention is the change most significant to the plan is to include a disaster debris plan. This is in response to the 2023 flooding that happened largely upstate last year, 2 years ago now, that impacted a lot of towns in managing the debris that was generated as a result of the storms. So what they want to do is get the towns thinking about staging areas so that the material can be set aside and properly disposed of, and that FEMA can properly provide relief in the event we have a storm. So that can take shape in many ways, and we don't need to go into specifics tonight, but we want folks to understand that what we'll need to do is establish a plan in year one. So that is the Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance will work with all 13 towns. They're preferring that we have each town have its own staging area, ideally, but that may not work due to problems with access to public lands, feasibility, so we may combine some towns to set up staging areas. But I just want to let folks know what we're going to also do is each town will need to decide of a contact person to be like the figurehead in the event of a disaster debris area that needs to be staged. So we have contact management, flow of information back and forth from the state about how we manage that debris and how it's disposed of. That also may include clean wood as well as C&D or construction debris as it's generated from a result of these storms. That's primarily mentioned in section S3-.4 where that new material is discussed. Aside from that, the rest of the plan really is giving more information about outreach through libraries, outreach to transfer stations at a local level annually, making our information more readily available to people both online and in communities through print form, so that people have an understanding of how to manage their solid waste through recycling, through product stewardship programs like we have for light fluorescent bulbs and paint and electronics and batteries, and mercury-containing devices such as thermometers and thermostats. We have, working with libraries, we hope to do more outreach and public presentations. We had some success last year doing a repair fair with the Bennington Community Library to help folks extend the life of their personal items, whether it be small appliances, sewing, fixing clocks, things like that. So what we're doing today is just presenting this proposed update for a plan that'll go into effect for the 2025 through 2030 years and help us guide our future management of waste.
Great, thank you. So did anybody come on any pieces of this that they wanted to ask Paula about?
No.
Yeah. Everybody's comfortable with signing it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept and adopt the new 2025 solid waste implementation plan? Thank you, Mike.
Second.
Brad seconded. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you so much. We are signing.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you for yours.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Good night.
Okay. We have finally a formal applicant for the Emerald Ash Borer Committee. And we hope to have more, but our first applicant is here for the requisite interview, and that is Mr. Arthur William. I'm sorry. Oh, God, Whitman. I got myself confused with saying your name funny. Art has sent us a letter, and we all read it. Would you like to come up and sit with us and talk for a minute? Tell us, and the public, the watching public,
okay,
what interests you in serving on this committee and what you're thinking you'll bring to it.
well, for at least the last 3 years, the state has been warning us that we've got a crisis coming with the ash trees, and even Mr. Jim White, who is a retired county forester, has been after me saying, we've got to do something about the ash trees. So thank you for this board for finally coming up with at least the start of a thing, okay? Dave Mance III, who was our tree warden, asked me to be on the committee, and so that's why I sent in the application. As of right now, there has been a whole team of people out doing inventories, okay? The majority of the roads have been done. I don't think every single road will be done, but we've kind of zoomed in on the places that we think are, along with Mikey and Nadi's recommendation and that sort of stuff. And it looks like the northeast corner of the town, Maple Hill, Depot Road, that area is an area that we probably want to look at first. But again, the majority of the town has been done.
Done in the sense of inventory.
Done in the sense of an inventory, that's right. There's two different ways that it went out. The state gave us an app that people could put on their phone. You drive along or walk along, and when you see a tree, you stop in front of it because it knows where you are. You answer some questions about the size of the tree, the severity, whether it's leaning, blah, and so forth, and then go on to the next one. The other one was a paper sheet that you filled in. Most people preferred that one as opposed to the electronic way, but Dave and I went out with his electronic one, and it seems to work quite well. So once he compiles all that, once he gets the paperwork down on, he's going to have a map about this size, and he's going to show, there'll be a dot for every ash tree and that sort of stuff on it, and then we can look at
Thousands
it.
and thousands of dots on it?
Yes. Wow. Of course, a lot of it's electronic, so it'll be, but anyway, so that's, this will all be put on a map. So from now on, in my opinion, the purpose of the tree committee isn't to go out and take inventory or anything, because that's all been done. Enough of it has been done so we know areas that we got to work on, okay? The tree committee really has got to start thinking about, first of all, identifying an area, that type of thing, setting up a protocol for marking the trees. Now, there's my favorite tree.
Yeah.
We aren't going to mark the ash tree next to it and not take that one down. So there's a lot of dead, dangerous trees out there that should be considered while we're doing this. But the main reason we're out there is the ash. For all the reasons that they come down easy and all that sort of stuff.
But while we're out there, taking
Absolutely,
down,
yes.
the dangerous ash will take down related danger trees that are clearly dangerous.
Yep, and dead trees that are just, have got the huge limbs hanging over the road and all that sort of stuff, okay? So then there's the protocol of how do you communicate with the landowners? Because technically, a person owns up to the center of the road. We have the right of way. We can do in that so many feet from the center of the road, 50 feet or to the 50 foot right of way, 25 feet from the center of the road to the other. The town has the legal right to be on that, to do what the landowner actually owns to the center of the road. And almost all.
Methods of communication is one of the things this committee has to decide
Yes.
on. As
How do we communicate with them?
Yep.
You know, do you mark the trees and then give them so many days to talk about it and come back and all that sort of stuff? Also, what do we do with the wood? You know, there's a lot of different possibilities, but I think the discussion starts with the tree committee. We go look at things and then we bring it to you. Obviously, it's the vote of the board that is the final say on all this, and you can change it or accept our recommendations and that sort of stuff. But the tree committee, now, I feel that's the purpose of it.
Okay, great.
I think your biggest job is going to be educating the public, because everybody loves trees. You know, you ran into that.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Questions of Art?
Mike Iannotti says that his road crew is quite capable of doing a lot of it. Obviously, when there's power lines involved, that's got to be contracted, hired out. When Mike goes out with his crew and cuts down a tree, it doesn't come out of that line item in our budget that says tree removal.
Right.
That's the same as ditching or plowing snow or something like that. That's all
We don't send it to Sycamore.
Yeah. That's right. So, but when we hire a contractor to take a tree down, that's where it comes in your budget item. So I think as a minimum, we've got to spend our budget every year, and maybe, you know, of course, increase it over the years, because that's going to be a thing. Mike says that fall and wintertime are the best. Summertime, he never has a full crew because everybody's taking vacations and that sort of stuff. But come fall and in a winter when he isn't plowing snow is an area where he can do a lot of this work. But again, the committee's got to set it up, mark them, work with him, and that type of thing.
And work with the public.
And work with the public.
So in our description of people we wanted on this committee, we had sort of two basic categories, one being people with community outreach and organizing experience, and the other being people with forestry and tree development experience. Where in that are you, what are you bringing, where are you sitting in that?
Well, I can identify an ash tree up to a point, so I'm not a forester or anything else like that. But that part isn't nearly as important as the public outreach and working with the public and that type of thing.
And which is something you have some experience.
Well, I hope so, but
Okay.
I think you've obviously got a lot of experience with town functions, so you'd be a good addition to the board.
Yeah. So, can I have a motion to appoint Art Whitman to the Emerald Ash Borer Committee?
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Brad. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
And we'll look forward to seeing you on this sad topic in future.
Yeah, this isn't going to happen in just 1 year or
No,
anything. It's going to be a multi-year project.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting. Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting.
They're starting to drop themselves into the roads.
Onto power lines. I mean, I honestly don't know what the Green Mountain Power is gonna do,
I know.
because there's so many
I think
that are already falling.
we
on
didn't get a
power
response
lines.
yet
We
about
lost
that.
power
No, we
already.
didn't.
Yeah, somebody reached out, and
Dave Mance the
Dave
third
Mance the
reached
third
out.
reached out and didn't hear back. He's tried a couple
To the
times.
power company.
Yeah, to GMPT. He's got a
They're
contact there. He's
simply-
like the head of
I
forestry.
mean,
Well,
it's gonna cost them a fortune, because they had already put a new pole near us because an ash tree fell, and that was in the middle of the night. I mean, they're amazing, I have to say. They're amazing.
Yeah, they're very fast.
And they did this, but this is just like,
They must have some sort of internal plan. There is no way that they don't have any plan. If they do, that would just be really surprising to me because of the way that they handle the other aspects of their business, which are pretty well planned out and have like 3 to 5 year plans, which is why I'd love to hear what that plan is.
it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
2 years ago, Dave Kernan told us that Green Mountain Power had contracted with a tree company that was going to remove all the ash trees within the right-of-way of the power lines.
But it hasn't
It
happened.
hasn't happened.
No.
So I don't know if it never happened, or it's being, a lot of things start up around Mount Pilgrim, obviously.
Yeah.
So, just like mowing the roadside, the state starts up north and then works its way south, which doesn't make a bit of sense, but that's where the money is, up in Burlington, so.
They may
But-
also be waiting to see what happens with federal grants.
Well, could be, but I heard that there was a contract out for removal.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But, it hasn't happened.
That's good to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much, and thank you for hanging
So-
out for a long night.
This was very interesting. So I just, I assume that as more members are, then Dave will probably put together a meeting once we have enough people to
Yes.
to warrant a
And,
committee.
you know, I want to renew in public our call for people to apply to sit on this committee. We have 5 seats on it, so we've now appointed Art. That leaves 4, and we really need people to
Would you
serve on that committee.
Would you consider Dave Mance a seat, or he's automatically on it?
He's automatically on.
So
He doesn't count as
He doesn't count, okay then, yep.
Yep. So But we're hoping that it gets moving by July
Okay?
as a committee to begin making all those decisions.
And I think for the call, if anybody is listening, it's not going to meet. It's not like the ones that meet every week. It's going to be like once a month or once every couple months as you all come to decisions. So your time
Right.
commitment will be reasonable. So please
Yeah,
come forward.
And
Please
it's
feel
not,
free.
Yeah, please join.
and it's not walking the streets trying to find them.
Yeah, the inventory is
already been done.
complete, so that won't be asked of you. It will be more of a planning process. It's not
Exactly.
going to be super time intensive. It'll be a slow project, flexible.
Yeah.
It'll, be a good commitment.
And a very important piece of work
Yeah.
for the town.
I think people think everything meets every week, and I just want to like clarify that.
Thank you, Zoe.
And that might make you not want to do it.
Thank
so.
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other business?
I have none.
No, we,
Oh,
Yeah.
one thing.
hi, Paul.
Hello. Appointment of alternative authorized representative.
Oh, yes.
To get Dave Kiernan's name off it and mine on.
Yes.
To
For
the,
the Phase 1 water
Right.
line replacement fundage,
Got it.
forgivable loan, business.
yes, so the Town of Shaftsbury Select Board as legislative body of the applicant hereby authorizes Paula Eichen and Melanie Dexter to act as an alternate authorized representative and Paula to act as the primary one. Can I have a motion? This is with reference to water infrastructure financing programs, the Clean Water State Revolving Fund and the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. Sorry. Yes,
So moved.
a motion by Mike, thank you. A second by Brad, thank you. Any discussion of this?
No.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any others? I'm going to pass it this way.
Okay.
No other?
No other others?
Okay. I will, well, let's do a review of action items. Did any action items come out of here? Place on the, I guess it's Jen is going to be placing on the website the information from the Forest Service and the contact information of those people.
And do you want to pass this down to her? This is the information for the woman from the one that's not the forester.
Yeah, the Amelia Nellie Napper.
'Cause she
who's
also-
a public lands forest.
Is a contact for
Ruffles
this.
Grass Society. Such a great name.
And
So-
we'll put our resolution on the website as well.
That's right.
Yes.
And the resolution should go front and center.
Great. Perfect.
Any other action items?
Water section.
I don't think so. Nothing comes to mind.
No, so busy.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to enter executive session to discuss personnel issues.
Moved.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
We're not going to take any action, right?
I don't know.
We might?
We might.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, you have to hang around.
Recording stopped.
And you are? I'm sorry.
Give me a moment to.
Oh, that's the collected. Oh, yeah, it's just-
You don't have to leave, we go in the other room.
Yeah, we just go in the other room.
You can stay here, you just
You're
have to
fine.
stop the camera.
It's an accumulation of stuff.
And public is to go, thank you for coming.
Because this got too big in that.
It's a light outside.
Every now and then I take it out.
Yeah.
It's overdue.
There's more people than we've had here in a very long
I know.
That's a lot of people.
since the,
Hi. How are
The
you?
Zoom is paused, right?
Yes.
I read it, you're good.
Are we going in there?
I'm coming. I'm just starting.
Just looking around.
Ready? Ready?
Ready?
Recording in progress.
All right.
You on?
You good? All right.
Okay, so Zoe has a motion to make.
I do. So following executive session, I move that we make a motion to sort of standardize with the way that the rest of the state handles their cemetery operations, and move away from the cemetery commission structure and towards a structure in which we will have a cemetery superintendent, and we solicit volunteers on a, sort of rolling basis or project by project basis as needed, as per the direction of the cemetery superintendent, and the town administrator. So basically, this motion would change the structure of how we do this, and now, which would be in keeping with basically the way that every other township does this in Vermont, we will have a cemetery superintendent and the town administrator, and they will handle most of the functions, which I believe for us is 5 cemeteries. So they will oversee the 5 cemeteries, and they will call for volunteers for any special projects. And so therefore, this will basically, disband the cemetery committee, and we want to thank them for all of their time and effort, and encourage them to volunteer for these project-by-project, calls that will come out as the year goes on. So that's the motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved by Tony, seconded by Mike. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed 5-0-0. Great. Can I now have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Seconded by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion. Meeting is adjourned.
Many hours of meetings today.
Recording stopped.
Okay.